Well, our enforcement of the new ordinance will not be much different than what we've been doing, with the exception of if we encounter someone that's in the median that does not fit the statute, and by that I mean if the median is less than 30 feet wide or they're within 200 feet of an intersection, we'll do like we've always done. We'll warn them about them being in violation of law, and we'll ask them to stop or ask them to leave. And most officers will tell them the proper way in which they can panhandle. You can panhandle from any corner. You don't have to be any distance away from the corner. And you can still panhandle on a median, even with this ordinance, as long as the median is more than 30 feet wide, or, not and, but or, you're 200 feet away from the intersection. Part of the reason this ordinance was adopted was because we had experienced some accidents and some injury due to panhandlers and or transients being in the roadway and about the roadway. We've had approximately about 16 or 17 incidents that involve death where someone was killed by a car. We don't want people so close to the roadway that they're distracting drivers as they're driving down the roadway. We've had some accidents that occurred because people were stopping to give money to someone that was on the side of the road panhandling when the traffic behind him didn't realize what was going on. Light turns green, everyone starts to go. One car in that session stops to give money to a panhandler. The person behind them doesn't stop in time, they get rear-ended. So those are the things that we're trying to prevent. It's an all-around public safety issue. It's 100% public safety. We know that we have people who panhandle because they're trying to survive. They're homeless, they don't have anywhere to live. We have people that panhandle that do have a place to live and have vehicles, and we watch them park the vehicles behind businesses and they go panhandle because it's tax-free. And we know people that do it as professionals, and they travel from state to state and they do this. We're not trying to stop any of them. We're just trying to make it safe for everyone all around, the driving public and those people that are out there wishing to engage in this activity. The major change that we expect with this ordinance going into 2016 is the small medians on a lot of the inner city roads that are divided by, or the roadways that are divided by a small median that's well under 30 feet. And it's primarily concrete, and it has a sign on it that says something about maybe left turn only or left turn lane. We're trying to keep people off of those small medians because it's very distracting. There's no grass out there, and a person standing there is distracting to the traffic that's sitting there, distracting to the traffic that's moving about, and it's very unsafe for them to be there. It's very unsafe for them to even get out there to that median. So coming and going to the median is an unsafe practice in the first place. So we're hoping that this ordinance will at least keep people off of the smaller medians, put them back on the corners. They can still work the very large medians, and there still are several of those around town. But again, we're not trying to stop panhandling. We're not trying to punish the poor. Even when an officer encounters someone that's in violation of this ordinance, they're not going to issue them a citation right away. We're going to have a 30-day grace period in which no citations will be issued. But even after that, officers will still give that person a warning, explain to them what they're doing wrong, and explain how they can do this activity in a safe and legal manner. Okay. Eventually, there will have to be some citations issued for those individuals that are just insistent upon violating the law. It's not going to stop panhandling, and that's never been the objective, and that's one thing we want to get across. Panhandling to us at the police department, it's never been that big of an issue for us. We do receive a lot of complaints, hundreds of complaints from citizens about panhandlers. It's usually after a wreck has occurred or after a near miss of hitting one, or a near wreck has almost occurred, that we have these complaints. But it's because of the complaints that drive us into the enforcement action of trying to get people off of the medians. Those complaints have increased here lately, and that's part of the driving issue behind it. We don't see panhandling as a big issue for us because we're trying to answer calls for service, and we need to get there safely, and we want the rest of the public to be safe as well. So when we see the panhandlers, we stop them and we warn them and we ask them to move. We know most of them will leave the location that they're at, maybe go to a different location, or maybe wait a while for us to leave and then go back out there. I drive an unmarked car, I see it all the time, and I see them out in the middle of the roadway. There's really no reason for you to be in the roadway. It's totally unsafe, and we see them in the roadway all the time, stepping off to get traffic, crossing intersections at an angle, not even in a crosswalk. So it's a very dangerous practice, and we're just trying to make it safe for everyone that's involved.